Hey, hi, and hello. I'm Troy the Art Boy, and today I'm going to be designing yet another unconfirmed experiment from Lilo and Stitch, the series. Before we get started, I've talked about this a bit in my last video, but I obviously haven't posted in a couple weeks. One, because things are just so crazy right now with work and just like family stuff, life stuff. It's a lot. But as if that wasn't crazy and bad enough, I cannot figure out the audio for my videos. I bought some new equipment that was trying out, and I don't know how to get it to work. My apartment is so echoey, so I have like nowhere to really record in. So it's just been a challenge. I've recorded this video maybe I think 6 times, and every time I can't get over the audio. So fingers crossed that this is good and that this works. But yeah, with that out of the way, let's get started. So, during the credits of Leroy and Stitch the movie, there's a list of every experiment's name along with their corresponding number. I defer to that list, and I work with a friend of mine over on Instagram. Their account's name is Lilo's Library to come up with the function and design for each experiment based on their name and number. So, with names, I don't have a lot of leeway. That's names that were given, that's the name that we use, right? However, with the function, I have a bit more freedom in that department. There are some guardrails that I do abide by, but generally speaking, I have free reign to do most anything I want. And as far as the designs go, I have even more freedom. Jumping back to the functions, just real quick. So Jumba organized his experiments into different categories, and as for instance, the first 100 experiments are categorized as being household helpers, essentially designed to make Jumba's life a little bit easier, even though a lot of them didn't end up doing that. So I'm going to throw up a list of the different categories on the screen now, so you guys can go check them out. But the only ones that really matter today are the first 100, which again are going to be the household helpers. Today's cousin is number 043, Cubesteak. I love to draw. Shocking, I know. I love drawing people, animals, Pokemon, you name it. It's such a fun and rewarding experience coming up with my own creations from scratch. There's nothing quite like it. But that's not what I'm gonna do here today. So my rendition of Cube Steak was pulled directly from that of another artist. Their name is Sketch Lampoon. They used to work with the same person I'm currently working with on this project, Lilo's Library, to design each and every Lilo and Stitch experiment, except they never finished. And basically, I was given permission to use their designs either in part or in whole for this project, as long as I credit them. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to, of course, be making a lot of changes to this design, but ultimately, the heart of it is hopefully going to remain unchanged. So, with that on the screen, you guys can look at that sort of throughout the video while I'm drawing my new version of it. And this really isn't to try and take away anything from that original drawing. I always just feel weird using someone's art in its entirety for this project. So I've worked with a couple other artists for upcoming experiments as well, which I'm so excited to share with you guys. And I do pretty much the same thing for everyone. Some designs might look very similar to the original, but by and large, they're usually changed at least a little bit to kind of add my own sort of flair to it. But yeah, I really love this design. Something about it looks almost prehistoric to me, like a primal version of Stitch. It actually reminds me of another one of Stitch's cousins, Experiment 202, named Jam. You might remember them from the very end of Lilo and Stitch the movie. We see a handful of cousins get activated, but my favorite has always been this purple flying friend named Jam. I used the teeth that Jam has, and I sort of shaped the jaw based off of them here as well. I think it really brings the whole face together, and I think it looks more rugged, and it gives me again that more prehistoric feel that I like so much about the original design. Just see if I can push it a little bit further. Now, if we look at Sketch Lampoon's rendition of Cubesteak, we'll see sharp nails and a spiky tail. I love the predator aspect. that they gave to Cubesteak, but again, I wanted to see if I can push it just a little bit further. So, how did I do that? Well, I started off with, instead of going for sharp nails, giving them giant, thick claws. Although I made sure to make them look a lot different from that of Clip's claws or Snipper's from a couple episodes prior. I also decided that for the tail, instead of having the spikes all sort of line up in a row, I made them jutting out in every which direction. I think it makes it look more unpredictable and more intimidating. For this, I based it off the experiment named Pokey. So I ran into a couple problems pretty early on, and I knew I was going to run into these exact issues. So I took my time with it, and those problems were that the art style for Lilo and Stitch tends to be very bubbly and rounded, so it usually stays away from using too many sharp edges, which, as you can imagine, was difficult here because I wanted to give them sharp teeth and pointy ears and a sharp tail and sharp claws. So there was a lot that I needed to sort of tweak a little bit. Now, how'd I do that? For starters, instead of having long needle-like points to things, I started off sort of sharp, but as it goes down, I made things thicker. So if you look at the nails, the end might be a point, but the bottom is rounded out. It's not like a kitchen knife, you know? And for things like the ears too, I made them still sort of pointy, but I made sure to round it off where I could at the tip and make sure it ballooned out at its sides. The same thing goes for the points on the tail as well. And yeah, I think it definitely really helped. I think it definitely still fits in the style, but it was definitely a bit of an exercise in creativity for me because I wasn't sure if it was going to work, but I knew that I really wanted it to work. And actually, you know what? I'll throw up on the screen. So I came up with two designs for them. The first one that I went with, and then here is the old design that I started, but then sort of scrapped, then went back later to recolor it just for the sake of sharing it with you guys here. But as you can see, in this first design, it was much more similar to the reference photo, especially the nails. And I was never fully happy with it because it did feel like I was just taking what they did and redoing it, and I didn't really add anything myself. So that's why I went back and sort of changed some things up, and I'm really happy that I did personally. But yeah, here's the earlier version of that. So I mentioned, I think it was my last video, about how much of a challenge it is sometimes to come up with a color palette for experiments, and that was fortunately not an issue here. The original color palette that Sketch Lampoon used for this design is honestly pretty perfect. I think it works well both for the vibe of the experiment and also it just looks good in the lineup as well. So I try to keep it as close to that original color palette as possible, and I guess switching over to the function on this experiment. So I imagine they would be used to sort of dice up and cut meat with the utmost accuracy, so they can make fun shapes, maybe make some cubes or spheres and stuff out of whatever meats they come across. And here he is. 043 would activate in Pleakley's home while preparing for Thanksgiving dinner. He would debut in an episode named Turkey Trouble, and the episode synopsis would be as follows. The Iguana prepares a grand Thanksgiving feast, but things quickly spiral into chaos after an overeager experiment designed for precision slicing is accidentally activated. As Pligley struggles to prove his culinary skills, the experiment's uncontrollable carving instincts lead to an unexpected disaster at the dining room table. Meanwhile, Gantu attempts to capture the experiment only to face his own comedic misfortune. With her traditional meal in ruins, Lilo and Stitch must find a creative solution that reminds everyone that Thanksgiving isn't about perfection, it's about family, togetherness, and embracing the unexpected. Cubesteak would find his one true place at a local deli. Let me know what you guys think. Before I let you guys go, I just wanted to say thank you again for sticking by me and being patient while I come up with new videos and stuff, coming out with my new designs. It takes me a long time to do all of this stuff, and I have 3 jobs, so I try and squeeze this in whenever I can, and it has just been it's been really tough. And I don't really know what I'm doing with this stuff, so I'm sort of learning as I go, and like I said, the audio thing is just it's not fun. I don't like it at all, and also, I wanna do some different stuff for my channel. I know a while back, well, I guess not that long ago, but I came up with a video essay for Land for Time, and I wanna do more stuff like that, and specifically, I think I wanna do a review and some videos on the upcoming live action Lilo& and Stitch movie. I think that could be a lot of fun, so please, bear with me while I come up with that, um, because whenever I stray from my usual formula, it takes me such a long time to make videos because, again, I don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, if I come up with it, be sure to check it out, and if not, forget I said anything at all. Yeah. So you guys can follow me over on Instagram over at Troy the Art Boy, and my partner over on Instagram as well at Leo's Library. You guys can follow me over on Patreon over at Troy the Art Boy as well. If you guys check out Ohanaman over on Etsy, you guys can find me over there as well. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really, really appreciate each and every single one of you. And you will see me in the next one. Bye.